In this video, I will discuss the origin of Dia de los Muertos and how European traditions influenced and shaped how the celebrations and art are interpreted today. Current discussions of how Dia de los Muertos began usually suggest that it began in the time of the Aztecs. However, there was evidence found that rituals actually began in Mesoamerica around 500 BC with the Zapotec people. Monte Alban was the earliest urban center in Oaxaca and thought to have been a place where deities were manifested on urns and carved in stone. During this time, the Zapotec people had traditions of burying their dead beneath the floors of their home, along with offerings of food and drink for the journey to the afterlife. Elite citizens were laid in elaborate tombs that were decorated with murals, abundant offerings, and funerary urns sculpted as various figures. Zapotec altars, now known as ofrendas, were nearby the burials, and it became the meeting site for family members to visit often and bring offerings such as food, flowers, drinks, and fine crafts. Family members would prepare food for the dead, and the following morning it would be eaten by the living members. The significance of this was to participate in the tradition that our existence evolves on two levels. One is natural and the other supernatural. This connection is shared between the two worlds. In Mesoamerican culture, it was common belief that the dead, deities, and saints were present among the living. So to maintain harmony between the two worlds, festivals were held throughout the year to honor them. With the invasion of the Spanish, these indigenous practices were seen as heathen acts by the Catholic religion, even though they had their own similar rituals to remember the dead. Because they were unable to prevent the indigenous people from participating in their traditional practices, the Catholics moved the dates to correspond with All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day on November 1st and November 2nd. One of the most well-known symbols of Dia de los Muertos are calaveras. They represent life and the inevitability of death, a symbol for the living to appreciate life. While skull iconography is shown throughout Mesoamerican history, the oldest known calavera skull belonged to the Olmec people. However, imagery of full-length skeletons depicted as characters are thought to be of European iconography, connected to the European dance of death from the early 1400s to the late 1700s. Then, in the 1900s, Jose Guadalupe Posada became known for popularizing his depictions of skeletons. Jose Guadalupe Posada was a Mexican illustrator and political cartoonist. He combined Aztec skull imagery and European influence of skeletons, but with his own twist. He was one of the first to create skeletons that depicted real people wearing clothing and hats while doing activities that the living would do. He made a statement that the living were not really living, but there was a fine line between life and death, and even poked fun at it. While the Zapotec may have begun the rituals that would later become traditions in Dia de los Muertos celebrations, Jose Posada popularized the imagery of calaveras as an iconic image of Dia de los Muertos. One of his most popular images is the calavera oaxaqueña. In this image, the main calavera is dressed as a charro, wielding a machete with what seems to be blood on the tip, his fist in the air, symbolizing triumph. He is surrounded by other calaveras who are depicted as the common people, and we can see this by their clothing. Posada's attention to detail is at the forefront of this etching, with the calavera's distinct features displayed as the details fade towards the back. This action is adding depth and the illusion that the crowd can go on for miles. Butch Luxine is a performance artist in Los Angeles, California. His work combines the iconography of calaveras and ancient crafting techniques with modern performance art. It has become tradition to bring to life the imagery of calaveras. These photos shot by Butch Luxine are of women in Mexico City during Dia de los Muertos. In his photos, he captures the beautiful and unique essence of the people of Mexico City. Luxine brings calaveras to life in a unique way. He handcrafts the calavera skull, shaping and forming the figure. Then he incorporates the intricate details. In this piece, he recreates ancient glyphs with small beads, the serpent and the scorpion used as a symbol of strength, and the peyote flower, sacred for its healing powers. He has taken multiple significant indigenous practices and brought them to life in a modern world. What makes his art unique is his modern performance combined with ancient iconography. The colored smoke brings his amazing work to a whole new level of innovation. Mesoamerican culture throughout the years has shaped and formed who Latinx are today, a melting pot of mixed cultures and traditions. The indigenous people of Mesoamerica adapted to the New World while still holding on to those traditions that were deeply rooted in the cultures. Because of their strength to hold on to this tradition, Dia de los Muertos is celebrated across multiple countries so that people can continue to honor those that have journeyed to the afterlife. Dia de los Muertos has also become a distinct art form to coincide with these traditional celebrations. It allows the living to express themselves and to accept and have a healthy relationship with death.